Hey guys, welcome to Melanin United. In this video, we're going to talk about this CNN interview Don Lemon did with this white British lady and the agenda that they're trying to push out, even by putting out certain movies in Hollywood like Women King and stuff. The agenda they're trying to push out now because now the reparation conversation's going globally. Like first in America, but now it's like what in African countries in the Caribbean and all that. So now they're very scared and they're very worried because they don't want to give back all the inheritance, the stolen goods that they got from us, right? So now they're trying to push out. Well, now they're trying to say, well, if we're talking about reparation, let's go all the way back in the beginning with the African kings and stuff like that. You know, when they were rounding up all their people, having them on beaches and ready to ship them. That's what I'm saying. They like when you listen. That's why you can't just listen and let their media propaganda, their white media, take over your head. You know, like yeah, you listen to what they say so you can take out what they're saying from that. But then go talk to black people, go talk to Africans that know the true history. You got to get their side too, because the way they say it, the way the Europeans are telling it is a whole lot different than actual reality, just like they do with everything, right? Whitewash. So, so when they saying their kings were just rounding up their people, first of all, she was saying African kings. First of all, it was not African kings. It was like one, two, a couple of tribes, like and chiefs. By the way, it was these chiefs, a couple of chiefs that were just like we're cooning, we're sellouts, just like we have sellouts today. The NAACP, the Congressional Black Caucus, all the like most of the politicians in Africa, the presidents, black governments all over the world. A lot of them they have to sell out. That's a lot of them are sellouts, just like how some chiefs, were cooning back then. So to say like, oh, African kings, there was kings all over Africa. So say a couple of chiefs, and then when they're talking about slavery, their slavery, and the way they're saying the kings, the slavery or whatever is two different ways. Okay, ours was. Let me show you the example. Ours was indentured servitude. So yeah, if they captured another member of the opposite tribe that they were like had their differences with, they would take that person. That person would like be like now a part of their tribe. Do like their cultural stuff and do all the stuff they're doing and like stay with them for like a while, right? Like they had certain times and stuff, right? But they were never doing the egregious atrocities that these white Europeans were doing. See, so the people would like the captured person would stay with that tribe and like do a lot of their cultural stuff and like like would have to work and stuff, right? Because because they had some problems and stuff, right? And that was like a couple of tribes. So these people trying to say like, oh, all these nah, that they try to push that whole tribalism thing when they're the ones that come and confuse and all that. Not all tribes were beefing, not even close to it. Only a couple. So yeah, and then now the difference between that and the European slavery, the chattel slavery, because ours, they're trying to say slavery is indentured servitude, right? Theirs was chattel slavery. Let me just tell you a couple of the things that the Europeans would do. They would take black mothers that were pregnant over to watch another black mother that's pregnant get her stomach cut open by this white demon, and then he would step on the boots of the unborn baby's head. That's one of the things he would do. They would grab black babies and throw them over the river and stuff for gators, crocodiles to eat. As baiting stuff, they would use black babies. They would, in New Zealand and in Tasmania, they would have what's it called? The game polo, the game we know polo sticks. They started it by burying black children on the earth, leaving their heads to stick out and knocking them out with polo sticks. That's where the game polo comes from. That's a couple of sport, those kind of stuff that they would do to black kids, black women, black men, were sport to them. Those were games for them. They would have black children, black people in zoos, and a lot of these white people would pay and have tickets to come see this. They would be burning black men in trees, and white families would bring their. So when they say it was just it was just white elites, and it was only a couple of people, the average white person, the middle income, the poor white people, they would be buying tickets to go watch a lynching of a black man, burning 3 black men in trees in the States, burning, and these white folks would come with tickets and bring their children to watch that. They would take their children to see black kids in zoos in Belgium and all those places. They would castrate us as black men. They always know, either if it was the Arab or the Europeans. Whenever they caught a black man, like during slavery and all that type of stuff, they would, most of the times, a lot of times, they would cut our penises off and keep it. People are disgusting. Wrong with them keeping it. I know it's for some spiritual stuff too, some of them, but some of them are just so nasty and they keep our shit like that. See, so I don't want to hear anything about them comparing their slavery. Like, no, there's a difference. Ours was indentured servitude, and the chiefs that were involved in that were wrong, and the tribes too, like the Dahomey and such. But yeah, so indentured servitude, and then there's a slavery. See what I'm saying? So don't let them push this white media-driven narrative to try to, deflect from them. Don't ever let them forget what they've done, because they keep doing it till this day. That's why the 13th Amendment is not changed in the U.S. Like Memphis, I see what they're doing some progress, but it should be changed like that. That's why the 13th Amendment, slavery should all be abolished in the U.S. The 13th Amendment, slavery is illegal, but if you are like, a prisoner. See, now you guys see why they put so much black men in jail. See what I'm saying? Because they're still, for them to make cheap stuff for Walmart and all that stuff, for like dollars, cents, they're slaving black men in America. They slave black kids in Africa, like Ghana. Like, for us, the Western world, to have free chocolate, free candy every year on Halloween, there's 5 and 6 year old kids in Ghana that's mining these, chocolates, and dying without, because they don't have proper equipment, just so we can have free Halloween. For we can have these iPhones cheap, these cars cheaper, these helicopters, everything. 6-year-olds and stuff in the Congo, mining, dying and stuff. They're slaving us right now. They're involved in that whole Libya thing. You see the Arabs and the Europeans, they slave black people in Libya. They're involved in that. The Arabs are still slaving black women in the Middle East, so-called Middle East. That's what I'm saying. So we can't, these people, they never stop slavery. And don't ever let them try to like make what was like the tribes that were fighting in Africa, like their situation the same as these guys' situation. And another point is, if I'm fighting with my brother or my cousin, right? My real close one, my brother, right? And let's say I fuck him up or something. Okay, that's me and my brother, right? I can fuck my brother up, or let's say if my older brother fucked me up or whatever. Okay, but if I did that to my little brother or something, would I let another person randomly that's not my brother then be able to fuck him up and beat him up? Hell no, I'm not gonna let that happen. So just because those tribes were beefing and they were like, capturing each other and like, indentured servitude and stuff, that gives you no right to come and grab people that they're not your race, they're not your ethnicity, they're not your lineage, nothing. You have no right to come grab a people that you don't know nothing about and then come take them all the way to a different side of the world and then treat them like that. The way you treated them is inhumane. They have recipes for cooking black people. Do you know that? Some couches, they would use our hairs as the cushions for the couch and the stuff inside the couch. Don't ever let them try to say what's happening in Africa between a couple of tribes. Let's make that clear. Not in Africa, like, do you know how big Africa is? What's happening between a couple of tribes. Let's not make it seem like that is 0.0001 anything close to what the Europeans were doing. These demons, they try to play with your mind and fill your mind with these things so then they can get away. No, they have to pay for what they did. These people didn't even say sorry. They haven't even apologized for slavery and colonization and all that. Maybe you got a few, but these people have not even apologized sincerely. So nah, man, don't let them try to change the narrative and agenda and stuff like that. That's why they want to push movies in Hollywood like Women King and all that to try to show, it was these Africans' faults. No. Alright, thanks guys. Like, comment, subscribe.